Brethren, have you ever doubted God? Have you ever doubted God, brethren? Well, when life is easy, when everything is going according to your plan, when everything is smooth sailing, it's okay and it's very easy to trust God. But when things are just going out of your hand, that's the time when it starts to feel a little bit difficult to really trust Him. And that's when doubt starts to creep in. And because of that, brethren, I know that some of us, or most of us, would have felt that kind of feeling. Have you been in that situation when you are disappointed that God is not meeting your expectations, or life is not going according to your plan? And sometimes it feels like He doesn't hear us, our prayers anymore. And that feels like it is leading us into doubt to God. In the Bible, brethren, even the most faithful servants of God has also experienced doubt. You see, brethren, even Abraham, David, Elijah, all of those spiritual giants have also experienced doubt. And if you think about it, brethren, every time we commit a sin, there's actually some elements of doubt in those situations. And you see, brethren, lately, lately in the past few weeks, I've been feeling this kind of experience. I've been starting to doubt God. And if you have known, it's been already about 2 years that I've been struggling to find a stable job. And there was a time when someone approached me and actually offered me a job. And I was thinking that, this is not the type of job I've been praying for. So I declined it. And that's when doubt started to creep in. And because of some financial troubles and from some financial problems, I found myself looking, and I'm forced to really find a new job. And for these past few days, past few weeks, I've been trying to apply for a new job. And over again, I've been declined. That's the time when I started to doubt myself. Am I this really incompetent that I'm not really no one is trying to hire me? It feels like I feel like it gets to the point that it feels like I'm being useless because of that feeling. And you know what, brethren? A small doubt could actually lead to bigger problems. You see, it just started like a doubt that I'm just doubting myself. But when I was thinking about this, it started to feel like I'm also doubting God. Like, come on, I'm doing my part. I'm serving you. I'm doing this for you. Can't you see? I just need a job. All that I am asking you is a job, and now you just cannot give it to me. And in that point, brethren, when I started to doubt God, I started to doubt my beliefs. Because of that, brethren, I'm also asking, perhaps all those years of believing God has been useless. Maybe because how can I be so sure that that Yeshua actually died for me? How can I be sure that my beliefs are correct? What if the other churches are correct and what we believe here is wrong? So, as you can see, brethren, doubt is actually very dangerous because it could lead to a lot of problems. And when that happens, brethren, you see, doubt is something that is a common experience to many Christians. That even if you're not a Christian, you could also experience doubt. And because of that, brethren, when doubt happens in our lives, maybe you are not seriously doubting God right now, but when it happens in the future, brethren, what should we do? And that is exactly what I want to discuss with you today. What to do when you start doubting God? What should we do, brethren? Because if we are not able to contain doubt, it could easily spread throughout every aspect of our lives. So, in this afternoon, brethren, when it comes to doubting, I want to go back to a story that happened thousands of years ago. And the story happened in the middle of the sea, at the shadow of evening, in a boat filled with 12 men. Right? So probably you already know this story. So this is actually a very interesting story because it touches on doubting. Let's go to Matthew 14, brethren. I actually have 3 steps here that we can take when it comes to dealing with doubts. Okay, let's go to Matthew 14, brethren, verse 22. Here, we read, "Immediately, Yeshua made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there." Verse 24, "But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary." So you could see here, brethren, that the first key to overcoming doubt is that you need to expect the storm. You need to expect the storm. You need to understand that problems, trials, suffering, and pain is a normal part of life. It's a normal part of life. You see, brethren, sometimes when you have been for a long time, you've been experiencing success in your life, kung lagi kayong successful, you forget that fact. For the past years in my career, I've been working full time, and I have a stable job. I could provide for my family. Life is good for me, and I kind of forget that fact that the problem, that pain in life is a normal experience in this existence. You have to understand, brethren, that the privilege of living comes with pain and suffering. When you start to deny that reality, brethren, you are setting yourself up for doubts. Kasi you are thinking, ay, bakit ba ganito nangyari sa akin? I didn't expect this to happen. This is very difficult. Ang hirap. So, you are actually going to doubt God because you are not prepared for it. When you expect the storm, because you know it's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. Lahat tayo, dadaan tayo sa problema, sa hirap ng buhay. And because of that, brethren, you need to expect that. Just like in this story, you have to expect that there will be storms in your life. Let's continue in verse 25, brethren. Verse 25 says, "Now in the 4th watch of the night, Yeshua went to them, walking in the sea." Verse 26, "And when the disciples saw him walking in the sea, they were troubled, saying, 'It is a ghost.' And they cried out for fear." They cried out for fear. Verse 27, "But immediately Yeshua spoke to them, saying, 'Be of good cheer. It is I. Do not be afraid.'" Verse 28, "And Peter answered him and said, 'Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water.'" Verse 29, he said, "Come." And when Peter had come down of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Yeshua. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid. Kakasabi lang, no? Do not be afraid. But he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, "Lord, save me." Verse 31. "And immediately Yeshua stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, 'O you of little faith, why did you doubt?'" Can you just imagine, brethren, Yeshua telling you these words every time you doubt? "Oh, you of little faith." I can just imagine God was telling me, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" Now, this leads us to the second step, or the second step of overcoming doubt, which is understand your doubt. You need to understand why you are doubting. Now, Yeshua asked, "Why did you doubt?" Not because he doesn't know the answer. He asked this question so that Peter would actually look into himself and understand why he was doubting. Bakit nga ba? Why are we doubting, brethren? You know what? You know what is the answer? At the very core of doubt there's one thing that is very common. That is fear. Fear, brethren. If you look into the story in Matthew 14, you would actually see a common theme. The disciples were afraid. Diba? Una, they saw that they thought that Yeshua was a ghost, and what were they feeling? And they cried out of fear. And then Yeshua said, "Do not be afraid." And then Peter, when he saw that the wind is boisterous, what happened? He was afraid. If you try to understand why you are doubtful, brethren, at the very core of that, it is actually fear. Now, when I look into myself, brethren, why am I doubting God? Actually, it is because of fear. I was fearful that I don't have enough money to pay for the rent, to pay for the food, to pay for the daily expenses. I was afraid of what people might think about me. I was afraid of what my wife would think about me if I failed to provide food for the family. I was afraid for the future. That is actually the reason why I was doubting God. It is because of fear. Now, every time you fear, brethren, that is actually going to oppose your faith. That's why Yeshua he told Peter, "Oh, you of little faith." Why? Because he was fearful. And that fear led him to doubt. That's why he was asking, "Why did you doubt? Why are you fearful?" And it's kind of interesting, brethren, that Yeshua's question was not, he did not ask, "Why are you afraid?" He did not ask that. He knew that Peter and their disciples were afraid. But he asked, "Why did you doubt? Bakit ka why are you feeling that way?" And the Apostle Peter, I would say that he realized that it was because of fear. Now, you could see here, brethren, that fear, understanding your doubt, could actually help you better understand, or could help you understand to take the next step of overcoming doubt. And that is know God. You have to know God. For you to be able to overcome doubt, you need to know Yahweh. Look at here, brethren. Verse 32. And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. Verse 33. Then those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So you can see here, brethren, that it's actually very difficult. Here's the truth. It's actually difficult to trust someone you do not know. Diba? Who are you going to trust? Someone who is close to you, someone who you know for a long time, or someone who is a stranger? Diba? It would be easier for you to trust someone whom you knew already. Are you able to say to someone, you randomly go outside and you say, "Hey you, I want you to take care of my," let's say, "I have 10,000 pesos here. Okay? I will give it to you and I will be back next month. Okay? I trust that you will still be here with my 10,000 pesos. Do you think that would work? A complete stranger? And you don't have any idea who this guy is, and you just give it 10,000? Do you think that person is trustworthy? Of course, it's so hard to trust someone you don't know. In the same manner, brethren, when you know Yahweh, it would be easier for you to trust Him. If you know His nature, His character, His plan for you, if you know that all the plans that He has for you is good, if you know that He is for you, He is not against you, and you knew that He even gave up His Son for us. Can you just imagine? Someone who is willing to give up His Son for you and me? Isn't that something that is going to really make you want to trust that person, trust that being? So you could see here, brethren, that if you know the very character of Yahweh, you would be able to trust Him even more deeply. It was just like, just want to give you an example. When I was a new driver, right? It was just a few weeks, I've learned how to drive. And during that time, I can tell you, my wife does not trust my driving skills. And I understand. Of course, I'm a new driver. Kahit nga naman ako, di ba? Kung I know someone who is just a new driver, I kind of hesitate to ride into that car with that person driving. Kasi hindi ko naman alam kung magaling mag-drive yun eh. Di ba? So, but, and for the first 3 months of that time when we were driving, I could really sense my wife is not trusting me. Even if here in, going here in HTV, we always avoid that road, that uphill, because my wife knew that it's traffic, and when we stop at the middle of the uphill, it's so, mamatayan ako ng makina, it's so hard, and even it's brand new aircon, you would really feel the sweat coming down to your face. Kasi tagang ninervyusin ka. And that's why we have to go to NHA, go to the long road just to avoid that. So, it's going to really, it's really understandable that she doesn't, kasi hindi niya pa na-experience eh. But, as time goes on, brethren, as my wife spends more time with me driving, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, in a year, you know what happened? She trusted me even more. The same is true with God. The more you spend time with Him in prayer, in Bible study, in meditation, in fasting, the more you spend more time with Him, you're going to know who He is. And the more you know who He is, the less you will doubt Him. Because you will trust Him even more. Because, alam mo, kilala mo siya eh. He is the one who is your Father, who will take care of you. And even though even though you don't understand what is happening, you would really trust Him because He is your Father. This reminds me of, here's the final scripture, brethren, Isaiah 55 verse 8 to 9. 55, 8 to 9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says Yahweh." Hindi, ang hirap intindihin. "For as heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." You see, brethren, God can see the big picture. You see, He can see the forest, but we can only see the trees. He can see the ocean, but we can only see the beach. That's how big His perspective is. And you know what, brethren, looking into my life, one of the reasons why I'm doubting God, it is because I'm trying to fit God into my plan. May plano na ako eh. Ito dapat yun eh. Dapat ito yung mangyari sa buhay ko. But it is not happening. I am trying to fit God into my plan, and instead of the other way around. Diba? I'm trying to ask God to work around my timetable instead of trusting God to trust His perfect timing. You see, brethren, that's why we need to know God, because when you doubt God, you forget who God is, that He is omniscient, He is omnipotent, and because of that, brethren, if you forget who He really is, you're going to doubt God. Because sometimes, brethren, it is not really about hindi dahil sa we don't know God eh. It is about we just forget who He is. And that's why, kaya nga di ba, but when you go back to verse 33, anong sabi dyan? "Then those who were in the boat came and worshiped Him." You know what happens when you worship God? It reminds you of who God is. It puts everything into proper perspective. If you remember the message I gave in the last sermon, brethren, it's about worship. One of the reasons we need to worship God, because it's going to remind us of who He really is. That's how important worship is. It would help us to have more faith in God. So, brethren, I hope that this message has given you a better understanding of what is doubt, why we doubt, and how to overcome it. I hope, brethren, that we start surrendering our fears, because fears could lead us to doubt. We need to worship Him and remind ourselves who God really is. And by doing so, brethren, you will not only remove fear and doubt, but you will also grow in faith. Hello, friends. I need your help. If it is not too much to ask, please comment, and subscribe to our channel. This should only take 5 seconds of your time. but this simple gesture would help me reach more people and share the Word of God with the rest of the world. You have the power to make a difference in people's lives.